What's going on, everybody? It's your man Cleveland Terry, and today we're going to be reviewing the newly released, although most of you probably already know, the Denon DJ SC Live 4. Now, they have released two products, the SC Live 4 and the SC Live 2. We're going to be reviewing the 4. We'll talk a little bit about the 2 a little bit later, but the 4 is where we're at today. And let's see how good it is. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about Denon DJ, people. Let's talk about Denon.
This launch has seen so many leaks from the people like Nick Spinelli, and even Serato released the product a few days earlier than they were supposed to. I think it's fair to say that the cat's out of the bag. So let's talk about it. The SC4 is an interesting piece of gear, sporting an impressive looking cover that will make you feel like you're using a Prime 4, and that's probably where my first thought went. Why does this device exist? Coming in at a price point of $15.99, just $300 less than their flagship Prime 4, I'm hard pressed to find a reason that you should buy this over the previous model. So we're going to tackle this in 3 different sections. The way we're going to break down the sections is one for hardware, one for software, specifically the Engine OS, and then the other for the Serato DJ implementation. The SC4 has most of the things you come to expect from a controller in 2022. All the bells and whistles are present. It's in an all plastic deck, but it doesn't mean it's not durable. Most of the Denon gear is plastic and I haven't had any issues. On the top panel, you have a solid 4-channel mixer section, trim knob, 3-band EQ with full kill, a multi-function sweep effects knob with all the effects you've come to love. The effects are good. They've existed on all the Prime controllers, but it would have been nice to have seen some new effects options. The effects are post-fader if you are using Engine. If you are using Serato, they are not. Also included, split Q, which should be a standard on all devices. The SC4 also supports 2 mic inputs, 1 combo jack on the main, and a 1/4 inch on the second that doubles as the auxiliary, a switchable auxiliary. The mic preamps are solid, but one thing I could not overlook. There are no physical mic EQ knobs at all. I started having Denon Prime Go flashbacks with the lack of even a tone knob, but fortunately, Denon has listened and the EQs can now be found in the settings. Treble, mid, bass on both mic 1 and mic 2. Now, of course, if you guys were interested in knowing if the Denon Prime Go will ever get the mic EQ, it will not. It's not capable on that particular device. Sorry guys, I was just as disappointed as you. But that is a +1 for Denon. Also, but if you plan on using Serato, which we will get to, the EQs are not accessible. Also included is the effects section, again sporting all the effects you're used to if you're using Engine. These effects are not standalone. They work with Engine OS. So if you are using Serato, you will be using Serato effects. The only standalone function on this device technically is the sweep effects. Also worth mentioning, there are no additional inputs on this board, so you can't plug in your turntables on a line in. The only available input is your auxiliary. On the back of the device, we have master XLR and RC outputs. On boot, you have 1/4 inch, dual USB-A inputs, and a single USB-B for Serato or Virtual DJ, whatever you're using. On the front, we have a standard 1/4 inch and mini jack headphone output. On the jog side, the familiar Denon layout is present with 6-inch jog wheels with displays, dual deck for decks 3 and 4 on the other side. The jogs are solid. Screens are clear with nice resolution, probably the best part of this section. They actually feel very similar to the Mixstream jogs. The pitch fader is solid, good resolution, it's functional. Very similar to the LC6000s, and just like my review of them, I did find that the faders are very resistant to movement.
The pitch fader, it's a very long pitch. It's very smooth, a little bit on the heavier side, but the resolution is really nice and it's just got a really smooth adjustment.
But they are smooth. The pads, however, leave a lot to be desired. They feel like the Prime Go LC6000 buttons, which if you are familiar, are click buttons, not pads.
There is a little bit of a click to them, so you have to actually press in the button, unlike pads where maybe you can kind of do a soft press and the action will happen.
Which on a couple of occasions while DJing required me to press them multiple times.
Lucky for you, that's what I like. That's what I like. Lucky for you, that's
I wish they had gone with the standard pads. It's something that you can get used to, but some people may not like them. Also, the shift button placement feels weird where it is. Nothing wrong with the buttons, but I kept pressing the button thinking it was the hot cue. Now, as far as the 4-up faders, they are fine. They have good treble and they're smooth. The crossfader feels good, but there is a noticeable gap in the cut-in. That is a lot of travel before you hit the sample. Again, you can get used to it, but at this price point, I feel like it should have been better, and unlike the Prime series, it doesn't appear to be easily replaceable. For reference, all Prime decks have screws right on the crossfader. As far as the sound output on this board, sounds good. I didn't have any issues on my party. It just worked, and it just worked well. The sound was warm, didn't have any sterileness. It was just a good sounding board. Okay, let's get into the software because there have been a couple of additions. But before we talk about it, let's talk about the 7-inch touchscreen. It's a great touchscreen, capable screen, giving you access to everything as long as you're using Engine OS. Also, along with the screens, you have access to engine lighting, allowing you to control your lights right from the deck. My favorite part of Engine OS. The integration is clutch, but that can be found on all the engine systems. So, what's new? Amazon Music. That's what's new. What? For just $9.99 or $8.99 if you are a Prime member, you have access to their streaming services on your Denon products. Now, you're probably thinking, wait, I have a Prime membership and I can play Prime music without paying. Yeah, well, so do I. But if you attempt to log into Prime without paying, you will get an error code. The payment is required. Now, the good news is they seem to have all the music all the other streaming services have, with popular playlists like viral hits, etc., which are up to date. This is streaming only. There's no way to download to your local. The files are high quality and sound great. Of course, it's not all roses. For anyone looking to 4-deck mixing using streaming only, at this time, Amazon only allows 2 streams at a time. Keep in mind, all the other streaming services, BeatSource, Tidal, all allow for 4-deck simultaneous streams. If you are using both decks to stream, you will not be able to sample another song in your headphones because 2 decks is the maximum. This is something that will definitely need to be increased sooner than later. Engine software has been updating consistently for years, and it really is becoming a very mature product. But when I switch over to Serato, and I still have to wait 15 to 20 seconds with dead air, I can't help but get a little frustrated. We still don't have a sampler, and I'm very curious if stems will ever be in their future. On first viewing, it looks very good. You can navigate with the master library knob and navigate through all of your crates. But if you want to touch the screen, you are limited to the left panel, i.e. the crates, left panel, and the sorting from the top here. But you cannot navigate with the touchscreen, nor can you jump around with your file settings here. You are very, very limited. Virtual DJ, however, allows you to touch pretty much every parameter plus a stem default section. At this point, Virtual DJ is still king of implementing their software on screen-based controllers. At a minimum, there is data on the display, which is great. It works, but after using Virtual DJ, it's disappointing. Also, as I mentioned earlier, wash effects work, but they don't work post-fader, which is extremely frustrating. Also, if you want to use Serato, you lose the ability to EQ your mics since the feature is an Engine OS feature. And when you change over, you also lose the ability to use engine lighting in the box. You can still use it outside the box, but it would have been nice if this could act as kind of like a dongle. All right, last thing. Now, the Mixstream Pro was the first to introduce speakers on in-music DJ gear. And in principle, it's great, especially in a pinch. But when it's all said and done, using a dedicated booth monitor is still a much better option in my opinion. During my event, which I was located behind the speakers, it was practically unusable and I ended up plugging in my Mackie Thumb Go anyway. In my studio, I still preferred my Yamahas over playing through the speakers. The good news is you can turn it off and still use the same knob for your booth monitor. That's halfway. That's full blast. I would have preferred if they left one side of the deck just for the mic EQs, which leads me to my final word. Where does this product sit in the grand scheme of Denon? It's very hard to envision someone buying this over, say, a Prime 4 with all of its better output features, dedicated mic, larger screen. But let's be clear. The issue is not the product. It's the price. This should have been, in my opinion, around $1,200. With the SC2, $1,000 or lower. The SC2 has far less to offer. No booth output, no auxiliary in, only 4 physical performance pads, no screens on the Jogs. I'm seriously at a loss on the SC2 at $12.99. If you are not set on Serato, like you're a virtual DJ guy, finding a discontinued Prime 2 is probably a better option than the SC2. The SC4 is not a bad controller, but I do believe it's priced incorrectly. All right, guys, so in conclusion, I like the board. I don't have a problem with the board. It's a solid board. My problem is with the cost of the board. I just can't see how at $15.99, this machine makes sense when you're comparing it to other products in the same category, in the same manufacturer's roster. The Prime 4, I know the Prime 2's been discontinued. There's just several boards out there that I think are just better choices. Now, if cost is an issue for you, for instance, $15.99 is all you can afford, whereas the Denon Prime 4 at $18.99 is too expensive for you. I get it. I completely understand. But in my mind, if you are looking at the two, I think you're better off saving a little money than getting the Prime 4. Now, if they're hearing what we're saying, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that is talking about the price point where it is. If they feel the need to drop the price a couple of $100, this is a much better board in my opinion. But at this price point, it's a hard sell for me. Now, I do like the features. I like the fact that we have Amazon streaming. That's a good sign. That means maybe things like Apple Music are on the way too, and I will be very happy about that. At $9.99, that's the going price for every streaming service out there, so that's not really an issue. And of course, I absolutely love Denon lighting. I do. The implementation of Denon lighting on all their boards is fantastic. Serato, Serato's fine. It worked fine. I used it on my party on Saturday night and it was absolutely fine. I didn't have any issues, but the touch screen, knowing that virtual DJ's touch screen works the way it does, and the fact that the stems are already built in there, there's a lot of reasons that I would opt for virtual DJ over Serato in this capacity. Virtual DJ just has it nailed. They really do. Now, let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to know what your thoughts are and what you think of the product. I know some people have said, well, this product is not for you. It's for the lower end market, for people that are just trying to come in, an entry level person. I don't feel at that price point, that's entry level. Entry level would have been $1,000 to even $1,200 to me. Anything under $1,000 is kind of entry level. And I feel like if anybody's finally moving up to this, like maybe they have a Newmark Mixstream Pro and then they want to upgrade. Is this the machine that they want to upgrade to? Or do they want to save a little more money and maybe get the Prime 4? That's the question I have. That's a question I can't answer. So people in the chat, let me know what you think. I'm curious to know your thoughts on the board. All right, guys, that does it for me. If you found what I said here useful, hit that like button. If you found what I said really useful, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow me on the Instagrams and the Twitters. Get on my Discord because that's where we're talking about all things Cleveland Terry. Guys, girls, always a pleasure. If I don't talk to you later, We'll talk soon. Peace.